Okay. Maybe. Come on, PowerPoint. Whoops. All right, bear with me. Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. Sweet. All right. So, all right, everyone, welcome to Ignite Elementals 3 open houses. Today, and I'm gonna read some from this just because the language is clearer and it's important, then we'll elaborate on a lot of things. So today's session, we'll go behind the scenes to see what's really involved in holding an effective open house. I am Sean Ewers. I have been an agent for 5 years, 5 months, all here. When I started, a large portion of what I did was open houses. For the first 6 months, I probably did a Friday, Saturday, Sunday open house every weekend. And I tapered off a little bit as I was getting more business, etc. But I've done a ton of open houses. I want to say this up front, I was not good at closing when talking to people. I was not good. So if you walk away from anything in this open house class, practice your scripts. Practice them, run through them with your sister, significant other, parents, neighbors, whoever. Do it. At your open house, take your open house scripts with you. There's no perfect time because you will have open houses where nobody shows up. So what are you gonna do? Practice scripts. Why not? You're there, it's open house, and it's gonna be super fresh when the next person walks in, it's right at the top of your mind. I'll also say too, as I was practicing running through this, I feel like I'm gonna say a lot of things like you need or you got to. Don't take that literally. It's how it's gonna come out for me, but you don't have to. This is from my experience. This is from what I've learned. Do whatever feels right for you. I'll do what I found my best practices, what I've learned from other people, but do what feels best to you. So if I say like, you need to do this, you don't need to. It's worked well for me. I highly suggest it, but if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. All right, so I said to some of you, like Ignite is still, I think, my favorite group of classes that I've had in real estate. Classes I've taken with KW outside, everything. It's my favorite classes. Ultimately, because real estate can get convoluted. You can feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. Really, all you need is the basics. They work for a reason, and you just adjust the basics to fit you. How you want to best say that script, how you want to best hold on open houses, how you want to best door knock, whatever it is, the basics work, and then you tweak it for yourself. How many of you have taken a handful of the other Ignite classes so far? Awesome. How have they been going so far?
They're great.
Good nuggets?
Good nuggets.
Awesome.
Chunky.
Good. And like anything in life, in real estate especially, there's going to be a lot of information here, a lot of information in all these classes. Take a piece at a time. Write down notes so you can revisit them. Take nuggets that you know you'll implement and put them in place. Don't worry about being perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Just do something. Fuck it up, try it again. And then keep trying. And then next time Ignite comes around, take these classes again. You're like, oh yeah, that totally worked for me. And then when you see that, you'll pick up something new that you can implement. So from the past Ignite classes, what has really stood out? What's been helpful, or what have you implemented so far?
Lead generate.
What form?
Like Hollywood here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That one's huge.
Yeah.
And before I forget, anyone in Zoom land, since it's a little tricky for me to monitor the chat, if you have a question, just unmute yourselves, and I think I'll be able to hear you. Okay, perfect.
I like that. So a lot of the content's repetitive, and what's good about that is it just keeps hitting home like what's really important.
Yes.
And it may feel like it's a fire hose, but a lot of it's the same water over time.
And when you hear that same water, like, okay, this keeps coming up, maybe this is important.
Yeah, exactly.
You're totally right. Anyone else?
Just kind of like implementation of systems in general. Like if you do it right, you can kind of create this machine of running on itself in a sense, maybe for lack of a better way to put it. And if you can, from time blocking to smart plans to all these different things, it can really be tools to help you down that path. I've just learned that I'm taking Ignite. This is my second time through because I really want to learn how to implement these systems more and more. As you try to do them, it's been a lot of trial and error for me and doing really well for a few weeks or a month and then kind of things up, So my biggest takeaway was to set up systems, especially down the line. It's really going to be, beneficial to you.
Yes. Yeah, and don't worry if they're great right now. Because I didn't know what I was doing at the beginning. I started doing things, realized, oh, this doesn't work. Oh, this does. But if you get those systems in place, now they're there. You can refine them as you go and make them fit and get rid of stuff that doesn't work. Love it. All right, so today our focus is on holding open houses and using them for lead generation. Everyone's got the manual here. Hopefully everyone on Zoom has downloaded it. If you haven't, there's a link, I think even this morning on the Downtown Facebook page where you can download it. Okay.
Is there any other extra copies?
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Let's try it again.
Doink.
I got a few.
Too much fun.
Thank you, Jen. High five.
That's the other thing. It's not fun. It's not worth it, right? All right, game day football. It's got to be game to catch.
Exactly. Okay, so do you hold open houses to sell the house or to pick up buyers or sellers?
Mostly the second two.
It's both. Mostly the second. When we talk to our seller and say, hey, I'm going to do an open house for you, this is what they're going to look like. We don't tell them, yeah, this is just for me. I want to do this. So you're probably not going to get anything. Like, for every seller, you only need one contract. Why not throw that net as big as you can for that? And open houses are great for that. You'll talk to anyone in this office, you will hear countless stories of somebody finding someone at an open house who either wrote the offer on or turned into a quick client. And so you can share the numbers with your seller. Like, this is where buyers come from, break down the charts. They're all over the place. You can find them. And open houses are not the top of the list. You're like, you know what? We only need one person. A lot of times neighbors spread the word of mouth. They like this neighborhood. They want friends here. And so they're going to see it. There are some things on here that I'm going to skip and get if they're on here, but I'm not as fan of, so I'm going to adjust as I go. Again, this is my experience, how I see open housing, what I feel important. I'll hit most of this though. Holding open houses consistently can be very rewarding and profitable. They are inexpensive and have a high return on investment. So you can attract more prospects by investing several hours in this manner than you can in perhaps 3 or 4 weeks by most other methods of prospecting. Nothing puts you in more direct contact with people than being face-to-face with them in an open house. Since the shutdown has released, how many of you have been getting substantially more robocalls or spam calls? Me too. As a real estate agent, I spend probably most of my time reserving making phone calls. And so it's my job to earn trust so that they'll answer my call and want to hear from me. When we start meeting people, that's the rush spot. If you cold call people, we're just another person who wants something from them. Even if our scripts are spot on, you will get those people like, no, I'm not selling my house and hang And open houses, how I saw this at the beginning, I called everybody on my phone on Facebook. I ran through that. I needed more people. I needed to grow my database. Open houses were huge for that for me. My first mentor gave me the goal of getting 100 people in my database by X date. I beat it, and most of that was due to open houses. I feel like I tend to sell myself better face to face. So that's why I liked it. Even if I wasn't great on the scripts, hey, I'm a person, I'm talking to you. Let's talk about your kids. I can entertain your kids while you go look at this house or whatever it might be. It's starting to build that relationship so that when you get those systems in place, you know how to follow up with them so that they want to hear your call. Even if you don't have anything or they don't have anything, you're going to be top of mind. And that's really what all of this is. You want people to call you. I gotta tell you, it's such a good feeling when I started getting more people calling me, because I call people and reach out to people every day and use my scripts to try to earn that business. When people start reaching out to me, that feels so good. And so open houses are a good way to get those face to face.
How do you get open houses? Like,
We'll get to that.
I would
That's
have
a good
been
question.
of open house, but
That's a good question. We'll touch on that very thing.
sorry.
Oh, you're all right. Okay, as a real estate agent, what's your number one job?
Really, yeah, take care of your customer.
Yes, sir. Serve the customer.
What was that?
The houses.
Close.
Be a fiduciary for your clients.
Close. All of those come after your number one job.
Lead generate.
Lead generate. You can't do any of those without leads. Even if they're your family and you see them every Saturday, don't count on it. There have been countless stories of family members going somewhere else because, oh, we know Sean, I wasn't, but I'm going to use an example. He was a fuck up in high school. We don't trust that. Like, yeah, we love him, but I don't want to trust him. That's it. And so with family, especially, who you can count on, you can talk to them knowledgeably. Make sure that you don't have to bring it up every meeting, but it's going to come up. Hey, how's your open house? Or I heard you had trouble with that closing. Like, you can start talking to them, not pushy, but like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. So when it's time, they'll call on you. But lead generation, open houses are huge for that. And this next line, don't have a listing to host an open house. You can always ask a fellow agent for their listing and work together for a win-win situation. My first listing came 9-10 months after I started or so, but I had an open house every weekend for the first 6 months or so, and then carried it forward. If you don't have a listing, ask anybody in the office. You'll find someone. Call other brokerages, call other listing agents that aren't KW. Keller Williams allows that. Call FSBOs at an open house. There's a FSBO in your neighborhood, like it's across the street from me, and that's not my sign. That's shitty. Go talk to that FSBO, and there's an open house. So with FSBOs at least, and something I've done before, and I've done this a few times. Fill out that report, and hey, I see you've been on the market for a while, and Zillow doesn't have their numbers any longer, but you can find them and go to them and knock on their door. How about this? Let me hold an open house for you. You don't have to sign anything. Let me do this. If there's any unrepresented buyers, you let me take those leads. If there's anybody who's specifically asking this house, I'm going to hand them your information directly, and I'm not going to touch them. How's that sound? Great. It's a win-win. You get that exposure to that business. They hopefully get that seller. And asking for open houses. I know there are a lot of posts on the Facebook page. Hey, I have a listing. Who wants to hold an open house? Or people asking, hey, I'm free this weekend. Can I host an open house? Those work. I would highly recommend coming in, walking around every door, asking everybody. My sellers trust me, and they hired me for a reason. And I need to, if I can't do the open house, I need to give it to someone I trust and who's going to do a good job. And to be completely honest, If there's somebody on Facebook who's brand new, like, hey, I want to do an open house, I'm probably not gonna reach out to them. But if that same agent kept coming around or calling me or coming to my office door and introducing themselves, like, hey, do you have anything this weekend? I probably will. I want to know that person. I don't want to necessarily have someone I've never met on Facebook, even though if they're in the office. I want to trust that person. So yeah, ask around, ask the Facebook, ask FISBOs if there's another listing in your neighborhood. Oh, this is gonna be easy. I can just walk across the street for this. Call that listing or call that listing agency if you can do it. Worst they say is no. Plus, I have no problem if they have that one Remax sign in the yard. And for that open house, I have 20 Keller Williams signs in my name with the open house sign in that front yard. I've got no problem with that. And if they say I can do it, great.
Question.
Yeah.
How would you feel about an agent from Remax holding one, they came to you and said, hey, I'm from Remax, I want to hold your open house. How do you feel about the cross if you went the other way?
There are a couple agents that I would do that with. There are a couple agents in the area that I've known a long time and trust. Outside of them, I probably wouldn't do it. But that's not going to stop me from asking other brokers.
I got open house every weekend. I got it because I went on to the MLS and I searched for all the active listings in our store. I mean, our office. And then I went upstairs and I reached out to the agent and said, hey, I don't know the house on the market. Can I do open house? So I was able to see what area it is. I kind of want to be in a certain area so that I can get to know it. Even though I live in that area, I can get to know it better.
Yes.
So, the past couple of weeks, people offer open houses, and I've ended all over the state. And I'm like, I'm never gonna come down here unless I have a contracting buyer. So I was able to see where the open houses were, and I asked them directly. And then I was also able to start, because I asked on Monday, by Tuesday, instead of finding out on Thursday, it gives me more time to plan for it.
Yes, and we're going to touch on those too. And if any of you don't know, looking in the MLS, there's an additional field, search field. Our office ID is KW002. If you search that, it'll bring up all of our active incomings and listings.
That's pretty cool.
Good enough.
Yes, all right, so when done with purpose, an open house is a sales event that is preceded by a systematic process surrounded by a wealth of lead generation opportunities. All right, so the open house prospecting model: prepare, prospect, pursue. Prepare for an open house, just like you said. If someone asked me, like, hey, Sean, can you do, it's Friday, someone asked me if you can do an open house, if I can do an open house Saturday, Sunday, I probably won't do it. I want time to properly set up for it.
I am not finding that.
Yeah, we don't have all of them.
That's all right.
I
Yours-
didn't have
That's all right, that's kind of supplemental to this. Yeah, prospect, promote and host, pursue, follow up and convert. We're gonna go through each one of these. So when calling, when preparing, please do not call people on the do not call list. If you don't know how to access that registry or run your list through it, ask Eva, ask anyone else in the office. I'm not the best one for that because I don't necessarily do this part of it or a whole lot of cold calls, but you will always hear a lot of stories of people saying, oh, it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. That gets people off the hook sometimes. But you're also going to hear these stories about these Joe and Jane homeowner who are tired of people calling, and finally you're the one like, fuck this, I'm going to sue them. And because their name's been on the do not call registry for 10 years and you didn't look it up, now you're 20,000 out or out of your license. To me, that's not worth it. I don't want that business that bad to lose my license or pay 20K, which I don't want to pay. Okay, once you've made the decision to open house, promotion starts a week out. With as quick as some listings go in this market, that could be tough. However, the coming soon status on the MLS is great for this. So if you don't have a listing, look at the coming soon one. You probably will find one with time enough for that. Select your open house location and time, or volunteer to open a house for somebody in your market center. It's like Jen said, if you want to work a specific area, you can focus on Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, your neighborhood, whatever it is. I went all over the place when I started. I drove 5 minutes for an open house. I drove an hour for an open house. I was all okay with that because I, at that point, had the time. And it got me more exposure to the different areas. So if our office is in the hub of downtown Denver, but somebody really loves Broomfield, now I know a little bit more about that. But if you want to specifically stay in your neighborhood, go for it. Become that neighborhood expert or that Lakewood expert. Why not? Okay, so this week by week, I'm not sure if you have this on there. Okay, but this week by week here example. Let's see if you have it. There it is on page 5. Monday, select your open house location and time. Tuesday, post online, generate the call list. If you don't have a program to generate the call list, ask someone in the office, ask your title rep, ask the lender, someone will. Adhere to the do not call policies. Wednesday, post online, install the KW consumer app on your phone, which you all should have on your phone already, and put a sign in the yard. That's up to the sellers or the listing agent. And you can find white open house signs where you can use a dry erase marker or magnet open house Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 2 or whatever it is. So you can let neighbors know because there are going to be people walking their dogs and like, oh, it's Saturday, I got to remember that. Thursday, post online, invite your database, return yard sign calls if it's your listing, and email property-based internet leads. If you post an ad for your open house, start getting leads and you can follow up with them. Friday, post online, prepare the market stats and comps, print and digital and print open house flyers. Command has everything for this, every layout, every print you want. List reports we were talking about earlier is also a good free service. You can do nice flyers. The market stats and comps. The comps are a good one to print out. I would suggest if you do it, like laminate it or put it in like a key ring or something that shows that this isn't free to take, because people will take them. Study those. For me, I study them the night before, the morning before, because it lasts in my brain easier if I do it like right before. I have a hard time remembering it if I do it a few days before. So study those comps, those listings, because people are going to come in, those nosy neighbors know every house that's been for sale, and they're going to ask you about it. So it's good to be able to talk with them about it. Saturday, post online, place directional signs, door knock the neighborhood, and there's a script coming up for this too. The signs, I recommend at least 20 every open house. If you have 0, do 0. If you have 6, do 6. If all you can borrow is 6, put up 6. Those first 6 months or so, I borrowed open house signs for everyone. Somebody who's not doing an open house has them. I've got them if you need them. If you can come by Little's and pick them up, they're yours to use that weekend. When you place those signs, it's probably good to go the day before the open house. Well, I'll show you what I do for the open house. I go the day before the open house and I door knock 100 homes immediately around that home. Takes about 2 hours. Even if they're attached homes or detached homes, I can pretty safely do 100 in 2 hours. A tip that I've done, I will knock as many homes on that street as possible before going down the side streets, even if the side streets are super close. Because if I get a flyer that says, hey, open house 123 Main Street, and I live on Main Street, that's going to pique my interest. If I get a flyer 123 Main Street and I live on Cider, which is right next to it, what the fuck is Main Street? I'm not going to care as much because I know I've got side streets right next to me. I don't know the name of them, and I walk them every day. And so I stay on that street as long as possible for the door knock. Also, while you're doing that, you can drive around and scope out the placements for your signs. You're going to want the major intersections. You don't need everything, but like, okay, this is pretty far back in the neighborhood. This is the busiest street. I'm going to need a lot here and one at every intersection to get them back there. Because you don't want people driving for a while, like, how the signs go. and just miss it because the next one's the next block. You want to get them there. And so you can start strategizing where to place them best. I also like on the busier intersections, if you can do like 3 going each way, because you want people to start seeing them like, oh, open, says the open house. Okay, there's more. Oh, the arrow's here. I have time to turn. Instead of stopping at the stoplight, seeing the arrow, like it's too late now, and then they go on. So the signs are huge. Again, half the signs I have right now are borrowed that they never wanted back. My first investment into my business were open house signs. And I got nice ones with my name and number on it. I put those on the busy intersections right in front of the house. All right, any questions on anything so far?
Is that like putting the signs out the night before? I know like in the class the other day we were talking about, there's like, times where they won't, like, that maybe that neighborhood or that municipal won't necessarily allow you to have signs overnight. Is that something that you would kind of go Saturday morning and do, or is that something you do throughout the week and take over?
That's a good question. Personally, I put them all up before the open house. I take them all down after the open house. If I'm doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I do that each day. As a new agent, I didn't have.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're not like posting signs, go and get them, posting signs.
Correct. If I do, I haven't, but if I would, it would be 1 in the front yard with the times, like, hey, Saturday, 11 to 2 or whatever it might be. And for me, like I was a newer agent, I didn't have a lot of money. Like these weren't my signs.
Right.
I'm not going to chance them not being there.
Right.
I have had some stolen. I have gone dumpster diving to get some back. I have pulled a couple out of the bed of a truck. And unless I have a listing in Thornton, I'm not going to do an open house in Thornton. That city does not like open house signs, and they'll high chance that they'll take them down. Thornton.
Good enough.
Yeah, I don't know who does it or who's constantly driving around. It's happened to me at least twice. I know other agents it's happened to. That was the one where I had to go dumpster diving.
Where do you go dumpster diving?
It was behind a big shopping center. It was the main corner. The road led directly back to the neighborhood. I put signs on all corners, and that shopping center patch of grass, I don't know, 15 feet before even the curb, before the parking lot, before the shopping center. Someone took them down to that corner and tossed them in the dumpster behind it. And I was like, okay, again, I've lost signs that weren't mine, and I don't want to do that again. I don't want to go in the dumpster for mine or anyone else's. All right. So, okay, the large part of preparation should be considering the location and time of your open house activity. Over 50% of people who stop at an open house do so by impulse. Location matters in this respect. Are you positioning your event in the path of traffic? Also, what time are you hosting it? If it's near a school, are you hosting when school gets out to attract those impulse shoppers? If it were up to you, and it will be if it hasn't been already, what time and days would you hold an open house?
Weekends.
Okay.
After 5.
Okay.
I think we do like 11 to 2 or 3. Seems like a decent time on the weekends. That was something I was gonna ask too, was like time frame, I guess. Is it like a 2-hour time frame? Is it a 5-6 hour all day kind of thing?
I started at 4 hours on Saturday and Sundays. I got down to 3 at some point.
So like 10 to 2.
I did 11 to 2 ultimately. I started at 10 to 2, yeah.
Why over the lunch hour on the weekend?
I'm sorry?
Why over the lunch hour on the weekend?
It seemed to catch people coming back from whatever they were doing in the morning. And then right after lunch, that's when like, okay, we just ate, let's go out and do something, or that's when they start traveling.
Okay. But,
That's how it made sense in my brain.
okay.
One thing on Sundays to consider, a lot of people are at church, so you might want to start a little bit later. So people are getting out of church at 11 or noon, so maybe you start noon or 1, just people. I noticed that in my neighborhood,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people who go to a couple of churches, and it's quiet on Sundays, and about 12, all of a sudden there's a lot of people out.
Yeah.
So it's just something to consider. Has
ultimately,
anybody in here had success on Sundays?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done like,
I also at some point stopped doing open houses on Broncos Sundays.
I was gonna
That's
say,
what-
yeah,
Not during football season.
If you want to be open house queen, if you want to just crush them, do it 7 days a week. Do it during Broncos Sundays, because not everybody loves the Broncos are going to be watching. Somebody's going to be walking through, but at some point, your time is the most valuable thing you have. And so you need to take care of that. And if it's Broncos Sunday and you're like, oh, I'm probably only get a couple, maybe it's not worth it. If like, great, I'm going to get a couple people, they're going to probably be serious, then do it.
Would it just be just?
I have a question.
Yeah, I guess but I was leasing before this. and
Zoom, I hear you, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
There were like days where it was like, okay, I'm here for my residents, because like nobody would come. Sundays was just like, especially during football season, it was like,
Yeah.
you're there from noon to 5 and you're not seeing a soul.
Just called me.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, yes, on Zoom.
You said you got it down to 3 hours. What 3 hours do you think is best?
I liked 11 to 2.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That caught people out in the morning and after lunch, and that seemed to be a nice sweet spot for me. Yeah, ultimately you can, if it's vacant or something, you can do a whole day one. You can have, maybe invite your lender, have them pay for sandwiches or something, have lunch. Why not?
do you have any lenders that you would recommend to partner with us? If we like want to partner.
I do have some lenders that I recommend. We'll touch on this. We'll come back to this
Okay.
too again, but
I heard lenders.
yeah, lenders, roofers, stagers, anything, plumbers, anything that somebody who is house shopping or owns a house or in the neighborhood could find useful. Why not have them there with you? Maybe split the cost of something. Okay, if we're all in person, I would hit this role playing. That's interesting. They changed that verbiage. The door knocking script. It's on page 6. You are going to get bombarded if you haven't already with scripts out the ass. Some are going to seem so dumb. Some are going to seem spot on. Give them all a shot. Find out what works best with how it comes out of your mouth and your personality. For open houses, I do a little bit of this script. I have found better luck just leaving it as an invite. Hey, I'm hosting 123 Main Street open house this Saturday and Sunday. Just wanted to invite you. I'll put you're invited on the flyer. I get much better feedback to say, hey, I'm inviting you, than asking them of anything. And then hopefully they come in. Maybe that's been part of my issue with not being able to close an open house, that I don't go further, but that's what I was comfortable with. Just the invite, like, hey, I'm not asking you anything. Come see me Saturday or Sunday, then I'll ask you the questions.
So you do the flyer invite. You said that you can do 102 hours.
Yes,
So that's not you stopping and talking to anybody. That's you just basically hitting door to door to door to door to door.
I stop and knock.
Stop it. You do stop and knock.
Yes, I ring the doorbell or knock on the door, and in my head, I count to 30. If no one comes, I move on.
Got it. Okay.
And it's gotten so ingrained now that even if I'm going like a friend's house, like to hang out or something, I'll knock the doorbell, waiting for them, and then I realize like 12, 13.
Gotta go.
Yeah. So it's that doing that gets me still that. And if you get those chatty neighbors, crap, I gotta be somewhere at 4, then maybe just drop the flyers. Okay, you can find many more open house scripts in the elemental script book starting on page 25. Find that. I have a ton of open house scripts from, I think it was 2 Ignite versions ago, that I'm happy to share, but find scripts, practice them. Because you have these people in front of you, you're talking with face to face. Even if they're just nosy neighbors, have some interest. They wouldn't be there otherwise. even if it's to find out ideas of what they updated, what they do at their home. I want to see if it would work with ours. You know what? That's so fun. You should ask. My contractor's here right now. If you chat with Jose. All right, spread the word, prospect. Oh, would anyone seeing this in Zoom too? I would definitely take time to run through these scripts with someone else, even if you're bringing up the open house and no one's there. Talk to someone else in the office, your parent, your sister, your significant other, something. Just run through them, because as soon as it comes out of your mouth, it's going to feel different than you reading it off the page, and the responses aren't going to be what you expect. So I've been asked like a handful of times if you could change anything when you started, or what's the one thing you would tell new agents? Practice scripts. I fought it hard, started, but really, as soon as I even get on my own motions on phone calls, I'm realizing I'm saying the same things over and over again. It's just my own script. So why not do something that's proven to work? All right, spread the word. Getting the word out about your open house has never been easier with the use of campaigns and command through some dozens of professional vivid designs. If you haven't explored command, especially in designs, do it. I stuck with E-Edge forever, probably a year overlap into command, and then I went full into command before E-Edge went away. But command has so many good templates, so many flyers, social media posts, email templates that you can post out to your database specifically about this. You just change the information, the photos, and it's there for you. Okay, promote and host. The prospect stage is all about hosting the open house and capturing leads. To successfully promote and host your open house, consider these tips. Build rapport with guests and establish relationships. Greet everyone that walks through the door. That's everyone. If you're talking with someone in the kitchen and someone walks in, just like, excuse me, I'll be right back to you, and come in and take that time. Have your guests sign in. Have everyone sign in. You don't have leads if you don't have their information. There are a handful of ways to go about this. You can create a property-specific landing page on your computer or tablet that they can sign into, and it goes direct to command. My cell phone plan does not have Wi-Fi hotspot. If I don't have Wi-Fi in that home, I'm SOL on my laptop. But if you have that, why not? Especially, and it's up to you how you want to do it, especially during COVID or for security reasons, you could require someone to sign in. If they say, no, I'm not going to do it, then I'd like to politely ask you to leave. Because we need to have this for security purposes. We need to keep track of everyone that's through my seller's home. If you really want to, like, if you want to come through, can you please leave your keys or your driver's license or your left shoe with me, and then you can come back and get it. But
Hey,
it's
Sean, I had a
really
quick
up
question
to
about
you
that.
what you feel safe with. I personally still like the paper sign-in. I have a stack of my sign-in sheets right at the front with like property specifics and KW pens I inherited from somewhere. And I have them sign in name, number, email, and I've got a list of questions. Are you working with an agent? Have you already been pre-approved? Do you rent or own? Whatever you want to put on it. You don't want it to be too long or too difficult, because they just want to come in and see it. So something easy, name, number, great, check, 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 great, I can move on.
Can you share yours?
Yes, you can email me
Okay.
as a reminder. I will get that for you.
Thank you.
Do you like the survey platform, or it's just on a clipboard? It's a little survey.
Let me get back to you on that one,
Okay.
because that's it. And so with my paper ones, I also like when they leave, I'll go back to that paper one and I'll write down every note that we just talked about before I forget it. And then I have that paper because that's a little tricky. You're like, okay, let me on my phone, open app. Nope, oh, messed up, gone. And to me, it's much quicker. Here's the paper. Great, they live just on the corner. Their son's 3, perfect. And then I keep it. And then I put that in my database. Not quite as simple as the landing page going directly into a database, but it works for me. So the survey. There's even, I'm not sure if it's in your form, but there's a parallel for another way to do that in this class too. So the survey, I haven't done it. Jeff Wombolt here did it and he crushes it. So, I mean, as long as you find something that works and make it work for you, do it. And again, make it simple.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to work a lot. They just don't look around. They want something easy. And in here, they also gave the idea, do a scavenger hunt. So just like the survey, how many bedrooms are here? Where are the fireplaces? Did you see the hidden ladybug or where is it? Something like that. And so something that the survey or scavenger hunt, something they'll want to do. They have the paper in their hand. They're always doing this. Why not sign in? What changed the game for me for getting sign-ins too is I had a lender that did a monthly raffle for a root down gift certificate. He did it with all of his agents. And so I had a little, one of those plastic stand-up things right next to the sign-in sheet, like, hey, enter for your chance to win a $50 root down, $150 root down gift card, whatever it was. Like, oh, I love root down. So they'd sign in and then I'd put all those people in my database. I'd send them all to that lender. It would be tag teaming on. And then at the end of the month, he'd make that drawing of everybody who came in from all of his agents. So I know agents in the office have tag teamed. They're all doing open house, like, hey, let's all put our money in for an Alexa or something. And so every one of the agents will do that. And then in a month, they'll do that. You can do your own Facebook Live, you know, who's going to win because everybody does it. You just cheated a little. So you do the Facebook Live, pull out that name. Yeah, so that helped me get people to actually want to sign in. Okay, what else in here? Probate, you get to know your guests, use the Ford method. Who can tell me what Ford stands for?
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams.
Yes. What are you gonna say?
Yep.
All right. And it doesn't need to be so blatantly, I'm gonna try to talk to you. It comes up in your conversations every day anyway.
I was talking to my buddy the other day, and at the end of the phone call, it was the first time I heard Ford. The other day at night, I was talking to my buddy that night. At the end of the call, I was like, damn, we talked about his family. I was like, we talked about work. We talked about what he's gonna be doing this fall. It's like we talked about kind of his home and like whether he's gonna continue to rent his home or he's gonna try to buy it from the guy that's renting from. When I hung up the phone, I was like, I wasn't thinking about it when I was before, but like just like in casual conversation, it's like we touched on all those things.
Yeah.
His business, I mean, general contractor as well, so it was kind of like, I'm sure, he's having the same conversations.
Perfect, yeah.
But like, yeah, I talk to this guy once a week at least, and yeah, it's like weird. It's like, yeah, that just kind of flows right in.
Totally.
What's the O again?
Occupation.
Oh,
That's like the perfect, I feel like it's so easy to bring up your real estate right there, because you ask them, how's work going? They're gonna tell you like, how's work going for you? So it's the easiest entry to be like, I'm in real estate, just drop that little hint to start with.
And that goes with everyone in any situation you talk with.
And like anyone, how's work? Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, how's work for you?
And when you're having those conversations, take notes. We speak to however many umpteen thousands, millions of people every year. It's hard for me to remember. I take those notes, and if it's right on the back of that sign-in sheet, or if I go into my phone and jot down that note and then go back to command and put it into my database. I have had so many people like, oh, Sean, you have a great memory. Like, oh, Sean, thanks for like, hey, I just want to check in. I know your wife had hip surgery last week. How'd it go? And if that's all your phone call is, great. Because then they know you listen, you care. And you don't need to talk about real estate every time because you know you're in real estate, or you just have those calls. And you find out what their job is. Awesome. Maybe it is a contractor or somebody just meant like, I can use that. I don't have a financial planner. Hey, can we set up coffee? All right. Any questions about anything so far? All right. And along with talking to these people, if it's a slow open house, maybe you have time to sit and chat, follow them around. Maybe they're wicked chatty. If you don't, this is one of the importance of scripts. You can get the conversation where you need it to go without being forceful. Because if there's a ton of people going in and you gotta hit all of them, have those scripts ready, have those conversations ready so you can get down to it. Like, oh yeah, you said you were renting down the street. You're looking to buy? Great, let's set up a time. That could be quick. And they can keep looking at the house while you go to the next person. And so they know where we want the conversation to go. We know where it wants to go. Our job is to make it not feel like that. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, capture the lead. Do y'all have Kelly installed on your phone too?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. When you're door knocking, this has helped me out a lot. When you're talking with someone and like, oh yeah, we need some place without stairs. Like, wait, let me follow up with you. That's an easy way. Like you can open up the Kelly app, enter in that contact, and they're in command. And then tomorrow when you go back to your computer, you can bring that up and call them or send them a thank you note or something. So capturing the lead in your phone is easy. Or if you want that landing page at the website, at the open house, go for that way. Whatever works for you, do it. If someone swears to you that technology is the way, but you love paper and pen and it works for you, stick with paper and pen. The most effective lead generation is what you will do and what you keep doing. All right, safety in an open house. If you want, there's a lot of ways you can go about this. If you want to host an open house with someone else, do it. If you want to shadow another agent or have that lender or contractor, do it. Someone else in the home, no problem. Park on the street. So if you have to, you can easily get away, but also if you let guests use the parking driveway. Meet the neighbors when you are door knocking. That's the part. You want to be nice to them. You don't want to upset them, or if you're placing open house signs and it's in the yard, door knock them like, hey, on that Friday, like, hey, I have an open house here, your corner will be perfect for a sign. Are you okay if I place a sign there for a few hours Saturday, Sunday? If they say no, okay, then you know, and you won't piss them off. If they say yes, great. You just met them, you know their name, you know their address. Send them a thank you card with your card. Never turn your back on a prospect. It's a little hard to do if it's a busy open house. You can kind of find your sweet spot. Know where the doors are. Make sure they're all unlocked. Make sure they're locked when you leave. Establish an escape route. Know where you can go, know where you would go. Let someone know where you are and when you'll be done. Have any of you heard of the red file yet? The red file. It's an unofficial safety thing we have in place, at least in this office. I do it when I'm going, I like to meet FSBOs or if an open house, something that I'm not entirely 100% sure about. Say, hey Doug, I'm gonna be at 123 Main Street at 2 o'clock. I'm like, can you be on standby for the red file? And what that means is, if you're talking to somebody, you're not feeling safe or something, like, hey Doug, can you bring me the red file to 123 Main Street? If that's their key, you're in trouble. They can call the police or something. It just, KW's red, it looks something inconspicuous you can send out. I have put that in place a handful of times. I haven't needed it. I did have one open house, and all my flyers, I put my photo and my information on it. The one open house, I was about halfway through and I started getting these texts. Like, hey, you're gonna be at 153 Main Street on Saturday? Yeah, and then I started getting like sexually creepy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm like, what? This guy now knows where I'm gonna be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I asked, I'm not a big guy. I asked one of the bigger dudes in our office at the time, he's moved away, but like, hey, will you come just be at the open house with me? I felt better with that. There's no shame in that. And if you have that number, report it, to call the cops. And I did the bad thing of like, this is fucked up. So I deleted it all. So I didn't have the number. Like I couldn't do anything. I think that was my mistake. Fortunately, I don't think he ever showed up because nothing ever creepy happened. Lastly, charge your cell phone. It's not charged, bring your charger to plug it in, sitting on the counter or something. Any other suggestions?
Oh, I have a family who live in April, so I plan on always taking the husband, the son, the daughter. Somebody's always gonna be there.
Perfect,
And they're happy to help.
perfect. Perfect, good.
Small self-defense things like mace or even if there's like this really loud.
Absolutely.
You know, something like that.
Absolutely, yes. You can get the small one to fit in your pocket and
I haven't thought about any of that. I guess that's definitely something to think about.
yeah, it's
I guess I always give people the benefit of the doubt as far as like.
And your jaws.
Yeah, getting quality people, but yeah, that, I guess, yeah, I mean, you don't really have anybody looking over it. Kind of checking it out every.
Yeah.
making sure.
yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. You'll see those stories on those real estate sites that where it has happened. And so it just, if you're not safe, if you don't feel comfortable about it, you don't need to do it. Nothing is worth that. So it's up to your gut. Oh, another thing that kind of goes along with that. Say when you're door knocking the day before, take a tour through the house, set up your own showing, a preview, so you can walk through. Make sure there's nothing dangerous out. Maybe they've got a whole gun room that's unlocked. Maybe their medicine cabinet's full of Oxy or Vicodin or something. Let the listing agent know, hey, these are all out. Can they get these, hide these away or something? Again, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to do it, but bring those up.
Can you stick them in a baggie and put them aside?
I wouldn't. I would have, I would have the seller or listing agent, the seller do it because that's not your responsibility. If something happens, oh, Sean was just in the house Saturday. Where'd all my Oxy go? Good fucking touching. So yeah, then leave it all to the seller if you can. Let the listing agent dictate that. Or if it's your listing, when you do that walkthrough with them the first time, like bring this up, like, hey, this gun room, not cool. We either got to move these or have like a super duper lock on this. So I'll be okay not showing this room, but we got to make sure it's safe. All right. So next up, pursue. You're going to see this chart forever. The full chart is it's always going to be a part of this. I think it's actually for the real estate agent book. It's so important because it's always the path. The pursue stage of the open house process, you engage a system whereby you ensure you stay in contact with your leads on a consistent basis. Consistent is key. Don't worry if the lead says they won't be able to buy for 9 months. The lead generation model provides ample opportunity to engage every type of lead, whether they are ready to buy or sell today or far in the future. They say they're not thinking about buying for another 9 months. That means they're thinking about buying. How many need business today? How many need business in 9 months? Follow up with them. Odds are it's probably going to be sooner than 9 months. So don't wait 8 months to call them. Text them after they leave the open house. Hey, it was so great to meet you. Here's my information. Call them on Monday. Hey, just wanted to see if you had any questions on that. Set up a smart plan to make sure you stay in touch with them. They're fantastic. You set it and forget it, and then you get a reminder each day, and you call them or write them or email them or text them, whatever it is.
Is that on demand?
It's on command. If you look at the smart plans, there's probably one already there, or you can look in the library. There have been a ton of great ones that have been custom made. Nick Baldwin from Lab Coat Dated has a ton of there that are fantastic. And if you don't see one, you can make one yourself. Something that hits the follow-up that you want. Okay, now that we've captured the lead during the open house, we want to cultivate that lead. Enter the prospects in your database. Enter them into your database. Don't wait till Monday if you're like, okay, everyone's asleep. Let me get these in my database right now, and then I'll go to bed. It has happened to me countless times. It just happened to me a couple weeks ago. We did the Peloton giveaway as an office. A handful of us went in, and I got a lot of leads from that. I found that spreadsheet again 2 weeks ago. I called those, what is it, like 8 people right after it. I forgot about it. I didn't put them on my database. I called them again when I found it. 2 of them had just bought homes.
Oh.
Put them in your database so that you remember them. All right, add any appointments you have scheduled to your calendar, tag your prospects, immediate buyer, immediate seller, future buyer, future seller, whatever works for you. You can create custom tags with command. I have my own, but whatever works for you, something you'll remember. And again, if it's not perfect now, just try something. You can always change it later. All right, put them on a smart plan. Use a 19 touch plan, 36 touch plan, whatever works for you. You'll get the people and you'll start feeling them out. Like, they don't mind me calling. They don't remember me, so I'm going to call them every 2 weeks. Or like, okay, they're really pissed off at me calling, but they seem like they want my help, so I'm going to call them every 2 months. Whatever it is, you kind of gauge. Okay, best practice. Any questions so far? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I had a question.
Yes.
So I've had open houses before where people will say they don't want to do the sign-in sheet, and then I'll tell them, unfortunately, for security reasons, they can't be there unless they sign the sign-in sheet. And then I've also had people who like SpongeBob or something. Then do you just tell them to leave as well?
Yeah. It's if you don't, if they won't, did all of you hear that? Some people won't want to sign in, you don't know it's security purpose reason not, and what do you do? And ultimately, yeah, tell them to leave. And it's your open house, it's your listing. You say, hey, this is what the sellers requested. Please leave. And if they're put up a fight, you're like, I'm gonna have to call the police. That's always a step. But usually they might be frustrated, but they'll leave.
Or give you their info.
Or give you their info, yeah. And maybe it's Ben Dover or something that you get. You're like, hey, I'm sorry, Ben, I don't think your last name's Dover. Can you please leave? Or give me your right information? But yeah, stick to it. And again, this is a good time too. If you have backup with another person in there, go for it. It's up to you. If our gut goes a long way. If you don't trust it, force it. But stick to your guns. If you do that with one person, you got to do it with everybody too. Because if that person who said like, hey, you got to sign in or else security, or I'm going to call the cops, and they're still there when the next person does it and you don't do it, you're like, that's not going to look so great. So yeah, keep it consistent. You'll be fine.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, best practices for hosting an open house. If you're looking for ways to really stand out in your open house, consider these tips. Host a speaker. I get it why they list like this, but to me that feels weird.
I don't like the financial.
Yeah, and when I hear host a speaker, it's like, hey, this guy's gonna come talk about pre-approval process during the open house. Like, be here at 2. That seems weird. To me, put it in your social media. Hey, we're gonna have a lender on site. You can ask questions. They can take care of you. Like, to me, that's what feels better. So have someone there. Or, a few years ago, Littleton had a major hailstorm. It was deemed like there was a major event there or something. If you know you're going to be in an area that just had hail damage not too long ago, bring a roofer. People have questions. Bring an insurance agent. And again, this helps too if it's busy. You have someone else to keep them there and ask questions and find out. Offer a gift. Hold a raffle such as by raffling off a gift certificate. This is where that contest was. This is a good one because it doesn't need to be big. A lender probably can cough up under $50 for a gift card. That gets most families a full meal. And have it there. Like, hey, sign in. You have a chance to win the gift card to Root Down in Denver. We'll be doing the drawing at the end of the month. Hopefully you win. That got so many more people to sign in for me. Or the survey, or the scavenger hunt. And another option here in the Millionaire Real Estate, the MREA book, the top tier level of open houses. If there are a handful of listings in the area, if you can coordinate like 4 in that neighborhood, hold it all at the same time. Send people to each one. Have a multi-house a scavenger hunt. And when they hit the last one, that's where they turn it in or something. It's a little trickier now because with the lack of inventory, I don't know if I've seen that many active listings that close by, but if it's there, why not? Get the house in showing shape. You'll want the house looking its best outside and in. A lot of this should, if you're not the listing agent, a lot of this should come from the listing agent. It should like set those expectations up front. Yeah, they did just touch the paint, or they got their front yard landscaped, or got it or whatever it is. Make it look good. Also important for why you show up early. A, so you can get your signs in place. B, so you can make sure it's presentable. Did an open house for Mike Bruce. He's had some crazy clients. If you ever just want some stories, was doing an open house for him. I show up. The woman was gone, but she had been sleeping on the couch. And so her blanket pillows were there. Not to mention a box of half-eaten pizza, beer cans, just gross. So I clean all that up, shove it under the sink, and like, crap, people are going. So get there early, even if it's spotless. What's the harm of hanging around a half hour early if someone chances come in? But
How about lighting candles or baking cookies?
good one. The candles can be tricky. Every open house I've done, I've baked cookies.
Nice.
Every open house I've done, I've baked cookies. I ask the seller or the listing agent if I can use their oven. And I just get those Nestle break and bake cookies. A small cookie sheet, I do 6 at a time. And so that way the smell's there, and then I can just make it last, and they're fresh for people to come in.
I had a stager tell me that we came to do an open house, and so the next time I did it, and literally everybody who walked through the doors, like, oh my God, it smells like cookies, smells like home, like
Yes.
it's such a nostalgic button. Everybody who walks
Yes.
through.
And I feel like cookies are the one scent that you can't go wrong with.
Oh my gosh.
There's some people that don't like vanilla, some people that don't like exactly. Cookies, I don't feel like you can go with. Also, if you're doing it in a renovated home and there are new appliances, check the oven before you turn it on. I had one, I did not. The open house smelled like plastic. They still had the manual zip tied to the tray inside. Check the ovens. Okay.
If you like a shaker, you light a cookie candle.
And
Well,
people,
like the coping, like how you want to touch the plate.
that's true. And they don't have to. I have found that more agents take the cookies than anybody else. Especially if they've been out longer, they seem to be hungrier.
You also,
Nobody.
I get suspicious. I know I said candles, but if it's lit with candles, I'm like,
What are they hiding?
They're, trying to hide some smell
Yeah,
or.
that's
cat
true.
Smell or mildew, I don't know.
Yes. There's a little tip on here. Go live. Engage your social media followers by going live at your open house. Even if your open house is a complete no-show, wait an hour. Do a Facebook Live. Hey, it's Sean Ewers. I'm at the open house on 123 Main Street. It's been nuts. I just got a couple minutes break. We're still going to be here until 3 today. Stop on by 123 Main Street. My number is 707-773-0912. Hope to see you. Got to check out these people. I'll see you soon. Done. And then, do that if there are people there. Do that if there aren't people there. I feel like I said this to the office, someone recently, but I have watched so many newer agents do an awesome job on social media where it looks like they are busy and crushing it. Hey, this is my open house. Hey, I'm at this restaurant downtown. Hey, I'm outdoor knocking. Hey, here's my new post. Like I'm in the office and they're like, okay, they're doing awesome. I know they're not as busy, but they're making it look like it. This is great. And then they stop. Don't stop. People have no idea if you're busy or not. You make it look like you're productive, you're doing things, you're out. Posting photos of that new restaurant, or when you're out tag places, at the open house, door knocking for my clients. I'm visiting Rhino, touring some homes, as some out-of-state buyers. I'm at this new home construction place. Like you don't have to have that business to make it look like you do. And a good example of it is the Home Snap Awards. Home Snap is a good app to have on your phone. It pulls directly from the MLS, like Home Snap. And it's one of the more accurate ones if we're actually looking up details. But every so often they put out top whatever agents. They got like top 15% last year. I don't know why. I don't know what numbers were. There's no, I got a social media tag or something. I posted on my Facebook post. So many people congratulated me. I don't know what the regulation, what meant I got that reward. But I put it out there, and then people are seeing us work. We don't necessarily need to put out, this is why you should move to Arvada. These are the best tips for maintaining your home for the winter. Like, they want to see us working. And so you make it up. Like, you are working. But you don't have to be necessarily busy. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Like I rambled on that for a minute. Okay. All right. Best practices for hosting. Welcome visitors at the door. Greet everyone. Even if you have to politely excuse yourself from whoever you're talking to. Get the house in showing shape. Set out all documents pertaining to the house. If you have flyers out that are just like showing comps or something, clearly indicate that they're not to take. Because if flyers are out, somebody's going to want to take them. Have that little plastic stand full of the brochures, your own flyer, something like, hey, this is clear that you can take this. Host open houses on off times. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, Saturday evening, whatever it could be. Like, why not? Somebody's going to be out walking. Have the right mindset. For me, this was huge when I had those no-show open houses. That's when I brought in the scripts. Like, you know what? No one's coming in here. 0 people showed up. I just wasted 5 hours of my time setting up, getting the house ready, waiting, tearing down. I'm going to practice scripts here while I'm here. I'm going to post a social media video. I'm going to clean up all the crap on my computer that I haven't had a chance to. Have the right mindset. And I'll go into every one anticipating a ton of people. So that way I know I can get my mindset right, that I don't necessarily want to dilly-dally with a lot of people. We make this as clean and concise as I can. Get the questions out that I need to, so I can follow up with them. Okay, examples of some don'ts. Leave valuables exposed. I was in a home showing with a couple of buyers a few years ago. They're in the bathroom, open up, I thought it was a linen closet. Bins upon bins of old files. Taxes, financials, all of this stuff, whatever it was. Like, when you're touring that open house, like, before you do it, let the listing agent or your seller know, okay, these gotta be moved. Or if that jewelry box is right on top of the dresser in the bedroom upstairs, I know I'm gonna be down here manning. I'm not gonna be seeing what's up there. So, hey, seller, you gotta get rid of those. Don't overdo it with messy meals or snacks. I like the cookies. I'll have a napkin. That usually takes care of any mess that's there. I've done this once, and I know people who do it more often. I've actually done it twice. Host a happy hour open house. Friday night, everyone's off work, 5 to 6 or 5 to 7, whatever it is. You'll have plastic wine flutes or something and some champagne. You do the pouring. So it's just a little bit.
What's the legality of that?
I don't know.
Checking IDs?
Maybe. I mean, you're gonna know who's not, and if you're curious, like, then maybe, yeah, check the ID. I stopped doing it because a couple times I did it, only the agents were the ones who drank. Nobody else.
Really?
Yeah, nobody else wanted it. The agents wanted it.
What does that have?
Yes. So it didn't work to me. I know some people who crush it. I know I've been to a handful of broker opens on some, like, Bonnie Brace, big ones, where they cater it. They get brokers and they go all the 9. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. If it's a lot, it feels like that fits more to like a $2 million open house as opposed to a $200,000 open house. So
How do you feel about doing broker open houses, like, just in general, or you're inviting your brokers only to check it out? I've heard those things.
I'll give you my answer. Then I want you to ask someone who does a lot of luxury, because they'll probably have a different answer.
Okay.
To me, I don't see it worth it. Because the ones I've been to, I did not have a buyer for. I went to see this awesome house in Brownie Bray. I went to go eat the food. $1 million listing New York makes it look like it's the most profitable thing to do ever. I don't know why I would. Again, someone who does a lot of luxury might have a different answer.
I feel like there's more like the listing agent benefit, like there's no benefit for me to host an agent open house, because they're all agents, you're not gonna bring me a lead. Like,
Yeah, there's that too.
but
Yep.
if I were selling a house and I wanted to host an agent open house for like, get other agents who know about the house, maybe.
Yeah.
I've heard of people doing them like in the coming soon stage, like a couple days before the listing go live.
Mhm.
They felt like that benefits, it gives a sneak peek.
A good twist on that, a neighborhood only, a neighbors only open house. So maybe that Friday, you don't post it on the MLS or your social media. It's just neighbors. Like,
I
hey,
like that.
you can come in early. This is just gonna be neighbors come in on Friday. What else is gonna be there?
That's awesome.
Don't forget about safety and don't park in the driveway. One thing that I don't know if it's gonna come up, but I don't want to forget it. Every time someone comes into the open house and I greet them, I ask them how they found it. It's one of 3 ways, almost 98% of the time. Zillow, my flyers, or their agent. And if they say your agent, you know, okay, that's good to know off the bat. I might not spend too much time. One of the questions I love, if I hear that, I'm like, great, who are you working with? They don't know their name. Follow up with them. Like they might not have that agent.
Or not a good agent.
Yes. But that also like, okay, my flyers worked. Okay, the signs were working. I'm gonna keep doing that. It's just a good justification for me too of what I'm doing. Oh, I had a good thing on that one. Give me a second. Nope, if I think of it, I'll come back to it. All right, so when you host an open house, you'll want to be ready for anything. Do you have this suitcase? Not yet. So this suitcase, if you can see that, hopefully, a good like toolkit. I like all of these except one. What I will also add to this toolkit is a long screwdriver. Reason being, if you're out placing open house signs and the weather's colder, and there's a frost recently, some of the open house signs are like those wire stands are nearly impossible to get to the earth. You have a long screwdriver, you can stab your hole, and it goes much easier.
I love that.
Yeah, it comes in handy. The one I don't like on here is toilet paper. I'll have that in my trunk, in my car. I'm not going to put it out. All of my listings, I put little paper tablets on the toilet seat. The toilet's closed, and I tape it on there, and I'll say, "Toilet works. Please do not use." Because I don't want them using it during showings. I don't want them using it during my open house. I've had a seller flip out on me because somebody left a deuce when he got home at a showing. And so, yeah. And so I'll have the toilet paper. People don't always read signs, or maybe it's an emergency or something, just in case, but I won't bring the toilet paper. Yeah.
Can I disagree with you?
Yeah.
Like, if someone walked in, I mean, first of all, I'm there for 3 hours. I probably need to go at some point during that time.
That's fine. I'll use it.
But I was having my open house, I was there for a week, I scheduled for 4 hours. And I didn't check if there was toilet paper. Thankfully, I had toilet with me, and there was toilet paper in the car. But because I didn't think about toilet paper, and it never occurred to me there would be none in the house. And I totally got skunked, and thankfully I was okay. But if someone walked in and they've been here like 5 minutes after the house. I know that feeling of I have to go. I'm like, I'm not that good guy.
I will.
Be like, I don't know how to tell someone I'm sorry, you can't. use the
I
toilet.
don't know.
Just like, I'm sorry, you can't use the toilets. I had, oh, you make up a story. Sorry, you can't use the toilets. Just Thursday, we had a showing come through, never flushed, and the seller was pissed. So at this point, I'm sorry, we can't use the toilets.
I'm not sure to check all the toilets before I leave.
Yes.
Blame on seller. Seller
Yes,
requests.
there's that. What happens if all of a sudden that 3-year-old who needs to go potty just pulls out toilet paper
Yep.
and it's plugged? It's all these one-offs that probably won't ever happen. It's one that I try to avoid.
Okay.
Sean, you have children, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I do.
You only know that example. on-
Yes. All right, anything else you'd add to this list?
I brought a speaker to plug in.
Great one. That's a great one. I do that as well. I find like Frank Sinatra or some dinner party mix or something that can just be on the background because
Sunday brunch,
yes,
yes.
because people want to be able to talk, and if the house is echoey, they're going to be self-conscious, especially if they're critiquing it or something. So music is perfect. That's a great one.
Well, one thing that I've actually done before at an open house was someone, they were curious more about what was for sale in the neighborhood. So I had my computer, I pulled the MLS stuff right in front of them. And it showed them, so maybe having a computer or something that you can use as a tool to be like, hey, oh, you're really curious, there's no one else here, let me show you. I thought it looked, like, hey, I'm ready, I'm on it, I have a database that can show you exactly what's going on in this neighborhood, I blah, 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 and I got phone numbers and leads from that. It seemed like that was
Perfect.
something. So bringing some sort of a technology inside your little phone.
And that's a great one for our KW app. Like, you know what, great, let me pull this up here. Look, I'm going to open up right here. I open it up. It's already right here. We can zoom, we can filter. What's your number? I can text this to you right now.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, perfect. And then you don't need to wait.
After a kid, you got like tied to use specific.
Yeah,
It's like,
I like that.
One thing I'll add to this, it might not be as necessary for open houses, but if you just like have a box in your trunk, like a racquetball. Because if you're in a house and you're walking around like, it feels slanted, is it? Put your racquetball, like set it down and see if it rolls.
What do you think about like those, I don't, if the list that you guys providing there, I guess maybe it's not relevant, but like the foot.
Oh, the shoe covers?
Yes.
So if it's not your listing, before you host it, check in with the listing agent. Hey, anything I should know, and make that one of your questions. Are there shoe covers? Should they remove their shoes? And then and if they're like, no, there aren't any shoe covers, they're fine with it, then you can just roll with it. And then, that brought me the item I forgot. How to dress when you're hosting an open house. How I dress for every open house. I wear a suit, no tie because they bother me, a full suit, and my hiking shoes. Reason being is I don't want to be out putting signs in mud or dirt or snow in my dress shoes. So I'll go around, put other signs, hiking shoes, stomp those in or whatever. And then when I get to the listing or get to the open house, I'll take off my shoes, whether they're shoe covers or not. And I don't know if my whole shtick is hashtag closing socks. It's even on my business card. And so I've got some crazy socks on. Usually a conversation starter, they bring it up. It's also a good indication that, hey, would you please remove your shoes without necessarily having to ask. And so I'll wear the suit because this is what I more often wear. But when I'm in an open house, if it's busy, I want to be able to be quickly identified. I don't want to be in my normal, just walking out Saturday clothes. That guy's got the suit. He's probably who we should talk to.
Or like a Keller Williams t-shirt with your name or tags.
I'll do if it's too hot and I don't have the jacket, I'll have like my name tag.
Okay.
And this is my opinion, the Keller Williams branded stuff, unless it's a button up or collared shirt or something. If it's just a t-shirt, it's just gonna blend in. Make it red. Make it something that probably will stand out. And
It's like a red polo or, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
ultimately, whatever you're comfortable in, because you want to talk to these people comfortably. I'm fine in a suit with no tie and no shoes, and I'll chat up a storm. But again, I want to be able to be singled out quickly if it's full. That's all right. I have a bunch and I don't wear them. Okay, what's next up? The follow-up is huge. Because when I've hosted a ton of open houses, probably more for not my listings than my listings. The follow-up is what gets me business. I'm bad, straight up at closing, at getting the appointments at the open house. But the follow-up is what's got me business from the open house. It's probably what I'm best at in lead generation, is that systematic follow-up. And so there are people here who absolutely crush it at open houses. Doug Gate is one. Art Vasquez has some phenomenal scripts for open houses. Seek them out. Doug gave me the tip of if you have a good conversation with someone, once they leave, give it like an hour and text them. Because the open house is still going to be fresh in their mind. Hopefully you are too, but that's an immediate like, hey, I'm still here. I want to be in your head. And then follow up with them again Monday. I call it, even if I talk to them Sunday, I'll call everyone on Monday. Hey, thank you for stopping by the open house. Depending on what conversation we had, would you like me to follow up once we go into contract or once it sells? Or would you want to set up that? Whatever it is, follow up with them. And trust your gut on it, on how to continue following up, whether it's every week, whether it's every month, whether it's whatever it is. Follow up. You will call some people and they're going to just bought a house or just sold a house, even after you've been talking to them for weeks about it. Congratulate them, offer any help, or if they just bought a house, like, great, do you need an electrician or plumber? I've got some good people. Follow up with them. There are so many opportunities to win over orphan clients. I don't know the stat correctly, but something like 86% of homeowners said they'd use their agent again. So like 30% actually do. Odds are their agent isn't gonna be great at follow-up. You can be. And you can be the one on their mind. So when it's time for them again, they'll call you and not the agent they used last. Okay. The lead generation model. When you look at the lead generation model, you see an arrow pointing from the close back up the prospecting. Why do you think that is? Yeah. We want to have clients for life. We want to be that family's realtor. We want to be helpful. I have spoken with so many people. I have been told by a handful of people, like, you know what, you hear these stories about like the realtor's supposed to be your friend, like you're going to invite them to your wedding type of thing. And my realtor I've never heard of, but here I am sitting having a beer with you. I'm going to follow up with them. I have in Smart Plans right now, I have a Smart Plan for every one of my past clients that lasts a year. Not to mention a couple drop-bys every year as well. So I'm following up with them. Because even if they're not buying or selling for 5 to 7 months, hopefully you did a stellar enough job that they're going to recommend everyone to you. And if you don't stay on top of mind, there's a good chance they're not going to remember or follow it, because we think about real estate all the time. Nobody else does. So you want to have that call. Like, hey, Jane, how you doing? Oh, Sean, I'm so glad you called. You know, my sister's moving here next month. Can you help her out? You want to land in those. You don't want those calls like, my sister just got here last month, just bought. I wish you would have called sooner. Those will happen too, but each time you get those, at least for me, that's like, okay, I gotta be on this. I gotta add this extra touch in. I gotta not be afraid to call because I don't think they're going to talk to me. All right. So thinking about back to your database, that open houses can help fill that. Your goals for growing your database. One of the goals every day as a real estate agent should be adding to your database. Without question. How would you feel about adding 2 or 3 more customers for life because of open houses? What would that do for you? How many of you could use 2 more pieces of business right now? Right. We have one of the things I love about Ignite. I'm not sure if they still do it, is the Ignite tracker. I tracked how many phone calls, emails, texts I made, how many contacts I made, how many letters I've written, how many homes I've toured. Those first 2 are what I still stick with. How many phone calls I make, how many people I talk to. I keep track of that every day. Nothing fancy. I've got a little sticky notepad next to me. Every call I make, I hit a dash. Every person I talk to, I hit a dash. And I add those into a spreadsheet. In that spreadsheet, I know how many calls I made per day, how many people I talked to. If I set a buyer appointment, if I set a listing appointment, if I held a buyer appointment, if I held a listing appointment, if I signed a buyer, if I signed a seller, how many contracts written, under contract, closed. Have all those lined up right next to each other. Ignite gave me the basis for that. And it wasn't perfect at first, and I've added to it to make it this way. So because of that, I know how many calls it takes me to get a contact. I know how many contacts it takes me to get an appointment. And so because of that, right now it takes me, last I checked, it was 76 contacts for 1 appointment. And I know I can get that better. But if I know that gets me my current level of production, how do I get more? I need to make more contacts. If my current database isn't doing it, I need to add more to my database. And as you add more, you can become more efficient with your database. Knowing, and for me, I do A, B, C, D. The A people are the ones like, yes, Sean, let's set up the time next week, we're buying. The B's are like, oh, I'm thinking about it in a few months. The C's are the ones that like actually will talk to me, but maybe never expressed it. The D's are the ones I haven't talked to in a year. So at this point, I have all my D's on an automated smart plan. I have one just email, one just text. These smart plans work. Of these people who I haven't talked to in a year plus, they're all of a sudden responding to these automated texts I'm sending. I have a woman I had a buyer's appointment with 3 years ago. Great appointment. Completely ghosted me after that. I got these smart plans started. This woman has followed up the 3 separate texts I sent because I didn't have my name at it. And so
Because they did not have your name?
because I don't put my name on all of them.
Yeah, I'll be touching.
And so because like, and as soon as I respond back, like, hey, I just want to check in. This is Sean with Keller Williams. She goes to me again. So these work, they get people to respond. So if you're not tracking your business, I suggest starting it, whatever might make sense for you. And then as you realize what does work, you can elaborate on it. Then you can start figuring out your numbers. Because I have watched, since I started doing this, I have watched my contacts to appointments ratio get better and better. And that's cool to see. What's that?
How long have you been doing this?
5 years, 5 months.
The smart plan that sends your text messages out, it sends you through that Twilio number.
Twilio, yep.
Do you put that number on your business card?
I don't. I know some people who do, but I don't, because if I get those back, I'll have a communication with that for a while and then I'll shift it over to my work number. I say something like, hey, this is,
So if somebody responds to that random text message, it gets forwarded to your, because I haven't really figured it out yet.
you get a notification in command and Kelly will let you know.
Because I think I connected them to, I forwarded them, but it should, they respond, it comes to my phone.
I'm not positive.
Okay.
Stephen will know. All right, so that's who could do the tracking. All right. Any questions about any of this? Because we're nearing like right at the end here.
Yeah, I have Kelly on here and it's not connected. Does it automatically connect your computer?
It should. I know, I get,
I wasn't able to sign it either, Chip. I'm not-
Okay.
chat with Steven. He
Alright.
knows that well.
Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, okay.
Steve told me he literally only used Kelly to get updates on, profit sharing. He doesn't use Kelly for
This is Steven.
Steven,
Delicio.
Delicia tells you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't use Kelly for anything else. And I was like, oh, so I delete it. It's like, please profit share. sure.
Kelly's good when you're out door knocking or need to quickly add someone to your database, because you can bring up contacts and that, add new, enter it, and it'll go right into command.
Okay, that is attractive to me.
Yes.
All right.
Any questions, any tips, any open house wins that you've had, or open house won't do that again you've had?
I'm glad you mentioned the fact that there are going to be open houses where there's nobody
Yeah,
there. And I'm glad that you were, like a better word, vulnerable in sharing with us that like you had days where it's like, WTF, what am I doing? I had that last week. I was at a open house. So this is a multiple point question. Second weekend that I was at this place, I've done it Saturday and Sunday, since I've done it 4 times now, 4 days. On the Sunday of that, I literally had poor internet connection. I couldn't do anything on my computer. It was, I'd already done the Instagram, already done the Facebook, already done all that stuff. And I literally had like a dead time of like 2.5 hours. I got back to myself. I was like, I just wasted a shit ton of my time.
Yeah.
What the?
yeah,
You know, and just thank you for sharing that and letting us know that that's part of the deal. You're gonna experience that.
yes.
So the lead up to that then is, how long do you keep hitting one location all the time for an open house? Is there a diminishing returns on that effort, you know, and all that stuff?
That's a great question. And I've had similar conversations with my coach on that very thing a handful of times. I farmed my old neighborhood that we used to live in, and this past year I stopped it because nothing was coming from it. I kept seeing sign after sign go up. And ultimately, farming is a long-term game. A lot of things here are, I'll say, including open houses. Like how long do you keep doing it?
Are you tying open house with farming right now? You know what you're saying? Because I'm talking about specifically being in the same open house, the same location, multiple times.
Gotcha.
And the
Same
question is there a diminishing returns
Yes.
there of staying in that same location?
Yes, because if you keep doing it, unless there's something distinguishable about this one, like a price reduction,
Yes.
or the whole kitchen's been updated, I'll do it one weekend.
You only do it one weekend.
Yeah, I won't go back.
Right, because if you start putting the same thing down on Facebook and one after break, are you doing anything?
Right, and even if it's not your
Like,
list,
Are you successful?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It becomes a question mark of whether or not you're good.
Because even if it's not your listing, they're gonna see you attached to that, like, oh, why isn't this selling? Why is he still there? What's going on? Yeah, I'll only do it once.
Okay, it's good to know.
I've also done, if it goes under contract before the open house, if the seller and listing agent will still let you do it, I'll still do it.
Tell me about that, because what's happening with Lennon over here? He's got me on a property on Saturday. They just went in contract today. How do you approach that?
Can you do backup offers or not?
Yes, so
What
I've,
about for the selling agent, whether or not they're getting backup.
yeah, and even if they're not, you don't have to necessarily say that. But yeah, I would do the same thing. I would door knock, okay, you're invited to the open house. And you know what? Unless it comes up, I might not even say, hey, we're holding open house Saturday and Sunday. And if they're like, oh, didn't it just go to contract? Like, you know what? Yeah, this is hot enough that I want to still get people in here to check out this neighborhood. So if something comes up, we have a buyer, something like that. Because I mean, you're going to get people in who don't know it's under contract. You just don't want their information.
Yeah, right, so, okay.
And at this point too, it's a little late to, it's be difficult to find another open house. Why not do it?
Well, I appreciate the little script of, hey, this is a hot neighborhood. Yes, this is under contract, but there are other opportunities that are gonna come up. And I wanna help buyers get into things.
Yeah.
That's a great goal, sir. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Or when you're door knocking, are you, you say you're knocking on the door, wait, count yourself, whatever, going on to the next one. Or if nobody answers, are you leaving?
For the open house,
Taking
yes.
Brochure or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so-
So I'll say when people say they come in because of my flyer, more often than not, it's probably people I didn't actually
So,
chat with.
yeah. Got home and,
Yeah. And yeah, the open house is only because that's an invite. I'm not asking them for anything. Like, hey, you can come if you want. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Probably not about this.
Oh, that's fine. One thing I love about Ignite is that I got to listen to an agent who was doing better where I wanted to be and hear what they learned. So yeah, I'm happy to straight course.
Do you recommend any of the lead companies?
Of the what
And,
companies?
Anyone lead
No.
companies? Okay, and I'm like the stupidest person for any kind of social media. Like, I don't even have it. I did it like 10 years ago and got so overwhelmed by the people trying to connect. It's like, I've been talked to for a reason, that I just closed it out. So is there a company that can help you with that you can recommend?
Stephen DeLucia.
Stephen?
Yep.
I've not been able to.
Yeah, email him.
Okay,
He'll send you like his Calendly
okay,
link, and then you can book a time with him.
okay.
Yeah, it's
He'll hold you, he'll handhold you through
yeah.
Really?
it. Yeah.
I make appointment with them every other week and I'm on social media every day.
Okay,
I'm on social media all the time and I still don't know what
yeah, I'm like the worst. Some people have said there's companies where they do all that for you. They post stuff and remind people or,
You'll get 100 different opinions on that for 100 people you ask.
okay,
For
I mean,
me,
down the line, you can have an assistant.
yeah, for me, anything that costs extra money at that when I started, I wouldn't touch. Especially leads, Zillow, all that jazz. I'm not going to give any of them my money. I get a call a week from some program that'll do that. A, I'm probably not the only person getting that lead. B, they're probably not great. And C, it's going to cost me more money than it's probably going to bring me in to start. I wholeheartedly go by you give a man a fish and leave for a day, you teach a man to fish and leave for a life.
we need a fish.
Yeah, and I don't want to have someone do that for me. Part of what I like about this and part of what I think sets me apart from others is that I'm there to help you. Like, I know that's all of our goal, but there are agents out there who just want to get to closing and
Right, they don't care.
fuck you. And so I like generating that. When I started, I took bold a handful of times. For my bold 100s, actually, let me take this a step back. When I started, I was in the Ignite class. I was still working in my last job. Like, I was talking to our team leaders. I'm like, I meet people. I came from out of state. I work from home. I don't see a lot of people. It's like, where do you live? I was by Belmar. Okay. During lunch break, go out to Belmar and just start walk up to people. That's what I did. I had an hour for lunch, drove there in 5 minutes, walked up to as many people I could in 50 minutes, drove back those other 5. For my every bold I've done, for my bold 100, you don't know what that is, that's 100 contacts in one day. I did the exact same thing. I walked around lower downtown and went up to people and started talking to people. And so,
How do you approach them? Because people are like, scared of strangers coming up to them. Do you have a card?
no cards.
No cards. Okay.
No, because that ends a conversation once I hand it over, and I don't want that. I want to get their information. It's usually like, hey, I'm Sean Ewers from Keller Williams Realty. A contest right now. I'm in some trading. The person with the most referrals by the end of this month wins a big screen TV or something. Who do you know that might be thinking about buying or selling a home in the next couple months? maybe they'll give you someone, maybe say no, but you talk to someone about real estate, that's a contact. It's not the most efficient, but why I don't like the Zillow leads, because I can be a person in front of them. And I feel that sells me better than paying someone. So I also know that everyone in my database I worked to get. I earned their trust. They're in there because of me. I do have some Facebook leads that I know aren't as warm, and I'm following up on them, but I don't necessarily count on them. They're kind of helping fill the database, and eventually I'll get some business off of that, but who knows? That was a wide answer for your question. Did that help?
No, that helps.
Okay, good.
Thank you. I love it.
100 contacts in one day.
I'm like, and not door knocking, you're just out there in a crowd, maybe in front of the grocery store.
I tried a mall once. That was one of the more uncomfortable things. I mean, people hated me walking out of the mall.
Because everyone's wanting to take a survey or something, or sell
Exactly.
something.
So I
Like,
just lower downtown. I just walked
or
back and
parks.
forth. Yeah, wherever you want.
That might be freaky.
It's uncomfortable. You're gonna get people swearing at you. You're gonna a lot of people saying no. Yeah, it's frustrating to hear, but it's a true one. Each no gets you closer to the next yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and again, with everything, consistency. One thing I wanted to touch on, for your lead generation, if you haven't been taught this before, you need at least 3 pillars of lead generation. If open houses, database, FISBOs, whatever it is, get 3 at least. You're gonna have more business from other avenues, but have like 3 that you can spend energy on. The reason being, because if you're crushing open houses, if you do 5 open houses a week and that's where your business is, what happens if 2 Aprils ago comes across again and everything gets shut down? You can't do an open house. What do? So if something like that happens, you have something else to fall back on.
Is that a part of the concept of the shift strategies with Keller Williams?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Right, anything else? That's kind of it.
You've been awesome. Thank
you.
you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And everyone on
Thank you.
Zoom, all of you too, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to give you the scripts. Happy to give you my mess ups, my successes.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
I have. So,
All right, everyone in Zoom land, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Gotta make this one of those games. So if the Saturday one was the scavenger one, so he and I are on for that for Saturday. I don't have a time yet.